Dune Part 2 is the brand new film that just hit theaters today on March 1st. This is the sequel, obviously, to the 2021 Dune film, which released both simultaneously in theaters and on HBO Max. And at the time, once again, Denis Villeneuve both directs and co-writes the film. And back in the leading role, once again, is Timothy Chalamet as Paul Atreides, the son of the fallen Duke, played by Oscar Isaac in the first film. In this film, Paul is finally learning the way of the Fremen, who are led by Stilgar, played by Javier Bardem, who's also back from the first film. As Paul's learning, he's also gaining power at the same time with the help of his mother, Jessica, played by Rebecca Ferguson. And this time in a larger, expanded role from the first film, Chani, played by Zendaya, someone who's infatuated and in love with Paul, but not in love with the power that Paul is gaining throughout the entire film, as she wants the person to save her people or someone of her own, not a foreigner. Also back in the film is Josh Brolin as Gurney, who was the Atreides' #1 security guard. Also back is Dave Bautista and Stellan Skarsgård as people of the Harkonnens. And also Charlotte Rampling also returns in a very big role as well as the Lady Jesuits leader, Reverend Mother Monham. And the brand new cast that's added into this movie is you have Austin Butler as Fade Ratha, the assassin, nephew of Skarsgård's character, who's going after to keep Arrakis and keep the spice going for the Emperor, who's now in live action, played by Christopher Walken. Also in the film, you have Leia Sadu playing another Lady Jesuit in the film. And the other big one is obviously Florence Pugh as Princess Arulin, the Emperor's daughter, who has not claimed the throne yet, but is still very much an advisor to her own father. The film is 2 hours and 45 minutes and is PG-13. Welcome back to a brand new review. Welcome back to Max Talks Movies. My name is Max Dinderberg. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Please ring the bell. We're so close to 200 subscribers. Comment down below. Do you love Dune Part 2 like everyone else, or do you think this is an overhyped movie? Do you want to see a Dune Part 3? Let me know in the comment section. I respond to every single comment, so please comment down below. Let's have a fun discussion. Please like the video as well, guys. Hit the thumbs up button above. Please, please, please like the video. It helps the YouTube algorithm know so more people can get, wants to see this video. So I've also already done an out of theater reaction for this movie. I do every out of theater reaction for every single movie I see in a movie theater. So definitely look for that on my YouTube channel as well. But I was pumped. This was my most anticipated movie of the year. I love the first Dune. I've seen it 3 times. I just rewatched it 2 nights ago to get myself ready for this film. And Denis Villeneuve is one of my favorite filmmakers of my life. I love Blade Runner 2049. I love Sicario. I love Arrival, Prisoners. All of these movies are so good. And obviously the first Dune. So I was very excited. And this is one of the best casts, I think, of all time. So I was excited, ready to go. And let's get my non-spoiler thoughts. And if you didn't see my out of theater reaction, I'll just come out with this just like I came out with my out of theater reaction. This is one of the best movies I have ever seen in a movie theater in my life. This is a fantastic and for the most part flawless movie from start to finish. There is so much great world building, characters, performances, visual effects, score, direction, sound design, costumes. This hits the absolute 10 out of 10 out of all those categories. And it is a special film that this is turning into a special sci-fi franchise. Obviously, George Lucas was open about the roots he took from the book of Dune into Star Wars. And the Dune movie franchise seems to be, in my opinion, on the path to be one of the best sci-fi franchises of all time that will stand the test of time for generations to come. These are 2 exquisite films, but I do believe Dune Part 2, for me, is a significant improvement. And this is for someone like me who loves the first Dune film. There is a lot more action in this film. There's a lot more character development in this film and a more conclusive story. Yes, there's definitely set up and a lot of room left to cover for Dune Part 3 if there's one down the line. This one definitely closed its book a lot better than I think the ending of Dune Part 1 did. I think that was the biggest flaw of Dune Part 1. While a great movie, it was definitely a contained story, but it at times did feel like we were kind of still leaving things up for this movie. And this movie does execute on a lot of the setups of the first film. Now, what I will say first is, if you have not seen the first Dune, I really highly recommend it. It's going to be a weird experience if you've not seen the first Dune and you kind of walk into this experience. Now, the film does explain things that happened in the first film, but I do think for the world building and you understanding things, that's what the first one was there for, to explain to you what the world is, the planets, the hierarchies, and then this film kind of executes based off those ideas. So they're not this movie is not really going to waste time telling you things that you already should have known in the first film. So I would highly recommend watching the first movie. I'm someone who's never read the book and will not read the book until this movies are out. So I'm only coming at this from a criticism or positivity from the movie perspective, not what it's gone right or done wrong from the book, just focusing in on the movie. Now, the MVP of this is, of course, Denis Villeneuve, who is fantastic. This is my favorite Denis Villeneuve film, and I didn't think a film would touch Blade Runner 2049 for me. This film has. This is an exquisite, gorgeous movie from start to finish. And Villeneuve got snubbed at the Oscars of 2022 from this film, and he needs to be nominated down the line for this film because this is one of the most beautiful and epic films I have ever seen in my life. To add to that, the visual effects and the CGI, there's not at one point where you don't buy that something is going on. There's a lot of ships and creatures, but it all feels tangible and real. And there's not 1 second where you feel like characters are on a green screen. You can tell they're on a desert or they're filming somewhere. The attention to detail and the seamless, visual effects, CGI work is perfect in this movie. There's just not one point where you don't buy what is going on in the movie. And Villeneuve does a beautiful job directing it, as well as Greg Fraser being the DP and the cinematographer for the film. It is just gorgeous shot after gorgeous shot after gorgeous shot. And even if the story was not great, you would be attentive just because of the beautiful direction and cinematography of this movie. Now, the other hand of the movie, which is also excellent and perfect, is the casting, the performances, and the storylines with these characters. Timothée Chalamet is one of my favorite actors, and I've been made fun of that for a very long time. Obviously, Call Me by Your Name, then Lady Bird and Little Women, Beautiful Boy, other movies like that. And, Chalamet was just known, people just gave him that stereotype because of his buzzworthy, personal life and the roles he was playing, kind of the goofy, kind of side boyfriend, that he wasn't this great actor like he was in Call Me by Your Name. But if he didn't prove it in the first film that he was one of the best actors working today, I think he's really proven in this film that he might be the best working actor of his generation. He's truly fantastic. Now, he's very good, very solid in the first half of the movie. But boy, in the second half, does he own the screen? And he is truly fantastic in the back half of this movie. He gives maybe his best performance of his career. And he goes down ways where I was even surprised that Chalamet went down these paths from a performance level. And he's truly mesmerizing as Paul, someone who's battling if he is the Messiah. And if he is the Messiah, how does he handle himself in a power structure role? As half of the Fremen people, including Javier Bardem, believe that Paul is the leader and the Messiah, while people like Zendaya don't see him as that and don't believe in these things because she believes that these types of prophecies enslave their people. The other big standout here for me, I'll go through, I'm not going to go through every single performance. There's so many great actors in this movie. I'll go through most of them though. Zendaya, who was barely in the first film, she was kind of just used in marketing more than she was actually in the movie itself, is definitely the co-lead of this movie, and she is fabulous. And she is what, in my opinion, makes this movie come together the way it does. Chalamet is fantastic, maybe the strongest performance of the entire movie. But when you watch the movie and the way it fits into the story, Zendaya's character and performance really humbles this movie and puts it into kind of a realistic perspective. Zendaya feels like a regular human being in this type of situation. Yes, she's a Fremen. She can, ride sandworms, but she's very down to earth in her beliefs. And she's very much in love with Paul and they're very much in love with each other, but their destinies could interrupt that. And the way both performances and characters handle that are very interesting. I was honestly rooting for Zendaya's character of Chani the whole movie more than any other character. I was on her side in all of the plot twists and turns and arguments and stuff like that. Zendaya is an actress who I've obviously adored. If you follow this channel, I've broken down Euphoria a lot of times on this channel before. And while she has not been able to prove that, in my opinion, out on the movie screen yet, and she proves why she, again, is also one of the best, if not the best working actress of her generation. And she's truly fantastic in the movie, has great chemistry with Chalamet and the rest of the cast. Rebecca Ferguson has a slightly less role than she did in the first film, but she really was the second lead of that first film. But she continues to steal scenes as Paul's mother, who has a very interesting plot line in this movie that I can't get into because it's not in the trailer. But Jessica has a very interesting path for her in this movie. And you see that darkness really creep into Ferguson is truly transformative in this role. Javier Bardem, also another guy who had a very cameo-esque role in the first film, gets a lot stronger of a role here. He brings most of the comedy into the movie, but also you see the way that the Fremen look at Paul as a Messiah through his eyes, because his religion, he believes that Paul is the Messiah, and Bardem is truly, again, one of the best actors working today. He's fantastic in the movie as well. Austin Butler gets a lot of great stuff to work with, and he is nasty. He's literally, if you were to think of a sociopath and an assassin mixed together, that's where you get Fed Rotha, played by Austin Butler. Butler is fantastic. Nothing like any performance he's done before. He's villainous, he's quirky, but he's dangerous. And you feel his threat throughout the entire film. And his entrance sequence is unbelievable, especially because you've seen the trailers. It's in black and white. And Butler brings it in this movie with a different voice. Florence Pugh, who doesn't get a lot to work with on the page in this movie, she delivers. She's also very good, very interesting character. And a lot of her performance comes down to facial reactions. And as you know on the channel, Florence Pugh is in my top 3, top 5 favorite actors working today. And Pugh delivers in this movie, not in a huge role, but you know, if there's a Dune Part 3, she'll get a much expanded role moving forward. So those are kind of the performances that I do want to acknowledge here. Also, Josh Brolin, once again, brings it as always. The score as well, also from Hans Zimmer, is just fantastic. Maybe the best scores of his entire career with this franchise. I'm dying. There's all these characters have their own character moments. These are not one-note characters. Yes, do they all get the same amount of screen time as each other? No. But you know where every character stands in this war, you know who they're siding with, who they're not siding with, where their beliefs are. And that's tough because this movie has a ridiculously long ensemble, but they all stand out. They do. They each, not just because these are great actors, but the characters, they all stand out in their own ways. And I'm definitely a part of this train. I'm just addicted to this franchise. Obviously, Denis Villeneuve has not announced that he's making another Dune 3. He basically just had, if you guys come see this movie, we'll make another one. People need to see this movie in the big screen. Now, I didn't get to see it in IMAX. If I could, I would have. But if you could see this on IMAX, or really, this movie needs to be seen in a movie theater. It is jaw-dropping visuals that you are not unseen in the movie theater. And a lot of people are very mixed on the movie theater experience, but this is a movie that should bring people back to the theater because it's just a jaw-dropping experience. One of the best movies I've ever seen in a movie theater. I adore this film, and the comparisons are right. This was The Empire Strikes Back to the first film's New Hope, and this was definitely The Dark Knight to The Batman Begins of Dune 1. So overall, I'm going to give Dune Part 2 a 5 out of 5 stars, which makes it a 98% for me. Near perfect film, really a masterpiece in my opinion. This will be probably hard to top for me being the best movie of the entire year, but we shall see. But Dune Part 2 lives up to the hype, and I'm so passionate about it that this upcoming Monday on the channel, I will be dropping a spoiler review of what my thoughts on spoiler plot points of the movie and what they could do for a Dune Part 3. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys soon.